If those hostages aren't back, I don't want to hurt your negotiation. If they're not back by the time I get into office, all hell will break out in the Middle East. All hell will break out. I don't have to say anymore, but that's what it is.
So Trump is getting serious about Canada joining the USA as the 51st state, with him holding a press conference at the Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida. A recent poll found that only 19% of Canadians want to join the United States. During this conference, Trump was asked if he would order the annexation or invasion of Canada, and his response was very interesting. So, let's take a look.
Mr. President, if we were to work under the assumption that you're serious about making Canada 51st state of the United States, the leader of the Conservative Party in Canada said, under no circumstance will it ever be the 51st state.
Maybe he won't win, but maybe he will. I don't.
You had suggested.
Listen, I don't care what he says.
But Sir Lopez, you said you were considering military force to acquire Panama and Greenland. Are you also considering military force to annex and acquire Canada?
No.
Trump gives off a number of very interesting and subtle nonverbal cues here. Firstly, when the reporter continues asking his question whilst he's trying to respond, Trump begins to lick his lips and gives off subtle signs of muscle tension. This tension is generated as a result of the fact that he is unable to respond, thus causing frustration, which in turn generates stress. This activates the sympathetic nervous system, which then generates the mouth tension we see here. He then immediately gives off signs of the globus sensation. This sensation is generated when the body's response to stress triggers the muscles around the throat to tense up, which generates a feeling of a lump in the throat. He swallows as a way to soothe that feeling. These are both very strong signs that he's stressed and feels strongly about the issue.
Economic force, because Canada and the United States, that would really be something. You get rid of that artificially drawn line, and you take a look at what that looks like. And it would also be much better for national security. Don't forget, we basically protect Canada. But here's the problem with Canada. So many friends up there. I love the Canadian people. They're great. But we're spending hundreds of billions a year to protect it. We're spending hundreds of billions a year to take care of Canada. We lose in trade deficits. We're losing massive. We don't need their cars. You know, they make 20% of our cars. We don't need that. I'd rather make them in Detroit. We don't need the cars. We don't need their lumber. We have massive fields of lumber. We don't need their lumber. We have to unrestrict them because stupid people put, restrictions on, but I can do that with an executive order. We don't need anything they have. We don't need their dairy products. We have more than they have. We don't need anything. So why are we losing $200 billion a year and more to protect Canada?
Trump is extremely good at holding a calm outward demeanor when speaking, doing deliberate and controlled hand movements, rarely letting his mask slip. He's confident and firm as he typically is.
And I said that to, as I called him, Governor Trudeau. I said, listen, what would happen if we didn't subsidize you, if we didn't, because we give them a lot of money. We help them. As an example, we're buying icebreakers, and Canada wants to join us in the buying of icebreakers. I said, we don't really want to have a partner in the buying of icebreakers. We don't need a partner. But no right. Nope, no right. Here's what we have. We have a right not to help them with their financial difficulties because we owe $36 trillion too. We're going to start knocking it out pretty fast, but we're going to be able to do it because of energy and other things. But no right. No right. But why are we supporting a country $200 billion plus a year? Our military is at their disposal. All of these other things, they should be a state.
When getting challenged and interrupted by the interviewer on what he's saying, Trump does what's called a distancing behavior. This is when someone diverts their attention from something that causes them stress. Frustration is one of the most common emotions that generate stress. Avoidance is a form of coping mechanism to reduce the discomfort associated with confrontational or challenging social situations, showing that the interviewer is causing him some degree of frustration. However, the distancing is very slight here.
That's why I told Trudeau when he came down, I said, what would happen if we didn't do it? He said Canada would dissolve. Canada wouldn't be able to function if we didn't take their 20% of our car market. They send us hundreds of thousands of cars. They make a lot of money with that. They send us a lot of other things that we don't need. We don't need their cars, and we don't need the other products. We don't need their milk. We got a lot of milk. We got a lot of everything, and we don't need any of it. So I said to him, well, why are we doing it? He said, I don't really know. He was unable to answer the question. but I can answer it. We're doing it because of habit, and we're doing it because we like our neighbors, and we've been good neighbors. But we can't do it forever, and it's a tremendous amount of money. And why should we have a $200 billion deficit and add on to that many, many other things that we give them in terms of subsidy? And I said, that's okay to have if you're a state. But if you're another country, we don't want to have it. We're not going to have it with European Union either. European Union, we have a trade deficit of $350 billion. They don't take our cars. They don't take our farm product. They don't take anything. And so we're not going to have it with them either.
At the end there, I see signs of feigned aggression when he says that they don't take anything. He gives off vocal strain, but it's entirely unsupported by his other non-verbal communication that would indicate any form of aggression. He does do a mouth tense, but it's paired with a conscious hand movement, showing that the tension is consciously controlled as opposed to being triggered by elevated stress levels. He noticeably shifts his voice, but there's nothing else. No genuine muscle tension, no signs of elevated heart rate associated with the emotions he's trying to portray. He's doing this for show, as a negotiation tactic, as a warning to Canada and the EU that the US is giving them more than their fair share. Trump is an expert at controlling his nonverbals, and he knows the effect that this will have on others.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. It's good to see you again. Two questions about Syria and the ongoing war in Gaza. About Syria, the Pentagon disclosed last month the US has some 2,000 troops in Syria. That's almost double the number initially we were told of 900. Will you keep that troop capacity the same?
Well, I won't tell you that because that's part of a military strategy, but I will say it was Turkey. Turkey's been after that country in different names and different forms and shapes for 2,000 years. Those people that went in are from Turkey. And President Erdogan is a friend of mine. He's a guy I like, respect. I think he respects me also. He's the one that didn't go after certain people after I requested that he not. You know who I'm talking about, the Kurds. I don't know how long that's going to, because they're natural enemies. They hate each other. But he didn't do that yet. And he didn't do it in the past also. He started, and I said, please don't do that, and he didn't do it. So, but if you look at what happened with Syria, Russia was weakened, Iran was weakened, and he's a very smart guy. And he sent his people in there through different forms and different names, and they went in and they took over, and that's the way it is.
Trump gives off a noticeable expression of mouth tension after saying that he thinks the president of Turkey respects him. This is again another sign of elevated stress levels. He then does the exact same gestures as well as a prolonged blink when he says that they didn't go after the Kurds because he asked them not to. I won't really speculate as to what that might mean, but it's clear that something about what he's saying is generating him stress. Perhaps Trump and the Turkish president had a confrontation. Who knows?
For January 20th, or is that something that's likely to happen, if there's a deal even at all? We've been hearing this now for the better part of.
I know. I would say.
They better be.
Right. I would say that the president is exasperated. I don't want to talk for him, but look, I don't know anyone who delegates better than President Trump. He gives us a lot of authority to speak on his behalf, and he exhorts us to speak emphatically. And emphatically means you better get it. You better do this, because the alternative.
Do you think they're waiting for President Trump to take office?
No, I think they heard him loud and clear. Better get done by the inaugural.
But when you say all hell will
Before
be paid,
I take office.
all hell must be paid if they don't release the
You know what that
hostages.
means, don't you?
Well,
do I have to define it for you? Look, all
No, I know
hell
you're not
will
gonna
break out.
telegraph
If
what-
those hostages aren't back, I don't want to hurt your negotiation. If they're not back by the time I get into office, all hell will break out in the Middle East. And it will not be good for Hamas, and it will not be good, frankly, for anyone. All hell will break out. I don't have to say anymore, but that's what it is. And they should have given them back a long time. They should have never taken them. There should have never been the attack of October 7th. People forget that. But there was, and many people are killed. They're no longer hostages. I have people from Israel and others calling, begging me to get, we had also people there from the United States, just so you know. They're holding some so-called hostages from the U.S. But I've had mothers come to me and fathers crying, can I get the body of their son back? Can I get the body of their daughter back? That beautiful girl where they threw her in the car, pulled her by her ponytail and threw her in the car like she was a sack of potatoes. I said, what happened to her? Sir, she's dead. Like a 19, 20-year-old beautiful girl. And the way they treated her. And I just say it this very simply. Steve's got a job to do. He's a great guy, great negotiator, great person. They respect him over there already. It's what we needed over there. We have people that know everything about the Middle East, but they can't speak properly. They don't know. He's a great negotiator. That's what I needed. I could have sent that gentleman right over there, Hussein. He's a great negotiator. There are people, they're rare. Great negotiators are very rare, like a great surgeon. But we have the right person. But I tell this, I don't want to hurt the negotiation. If the deal isn't done before I take office, which is now going to be 2 weeks, all hell will break out in the Middle East. Okay?
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
President.
You've done a great job.
Thank you.
Trump's nonverbals are entirely controlled and his threats are the same. When making these threats and talking about the hostages, his nonverbals never deviate from his baseline. He is entirely calm and collected, which gives off an incredibly powerful image. Say what you want about Trump's politics, but having a leader who doesn't feel the pressure is an incredibly powerful thing. This whole conference's purpose is for Trump to air his messages to the relevant governments around the world. He's trying to cut deals, and this press conference is a powerful way of him doing this before he takes office on the 20th. What did you think of this video? Let me know in the comment section below, and thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy it, please be sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more content, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.